Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Chapter 1. The Boy Who Lived and Ruined the Dursleys' Entire Aesthetic. Our story begins with the Dursleys, who are so aggressively normal that they probably iron their socks. Mr. Dursley sells drills, which is the most boring job imaginable, and Mrs. Dursley has a neck like a giraffe that she uses to spy on neighbors. They have a son named Dudley who is basically a small, spoiled emperor. The Dursleys have a dirty little secret. Mrs. Dursley's sister is a witch, and they act like she's in witness protection. They're convinced that if anyone finds out, their precious normalcy will crumble. One Tuesday, weird stuff starts happening. Mr. Dursley sees a cat reading a map, as you do. People in cloaks are everywhere, and owls are flying around in broad daylight like they're late for a rave. The news is talking about owls and shooting stars, and Mr. Dursley is losing his mind trying to rationalize it all. That night, the most extra wizard in existence, Albus Dumbledore, appears on Privet Drive wearing purple robes and high-heeled boots. He uses a magical lighter to turn off all the streetlights because apparently he's never heard of subtlety. He meets Professor McGonagall, who's been disguised as a cat all day, dedication, and they discuss how Voldemort, the wizard Hitler, just got defeated by a literal baby named Harry Potter. Then Hagrid shows up on a flying motorcycle. Yes, a flying motorcycle, with said baby. They decide to leave this orphaned child on a doorstep with a letter like he's an Amazon package. Dumbledore is all, his aunt and uncle will explain everything, which is the worst plan ever conceived. Chapter 2. The Vanishing Glass, or 10 years of Harry being treated like an unwanted houseplant. Fast forward 10 years. Harry lives in a cupboard under the stairs, which should be illegal, but somehow isn't. The Dursleys treat him like a combination of a servant and a problem they keep meaning to solve. Meanwhile, Dudley has grown into a massive brat who has 2 bedrooms, one for sleeping, one for broken toys he doesn't want, while Harry literally sleeps with spiders. It's Dudley's birthday, and he's about to turn 11. He counts his presents and has a nuclear meltdown because he only has 36 gifts instead of 37. This kid is the worst. The Dursleys promise him 2 more presents, and he stops crying like someone flipped a switch. The family goes to the zoo, and Harry is dragged along because Mrs. Dursley's babysitter fell through. At the reptile house, Harry talks to a snake. In English, he thinks, but actually in Parseltongue. Spoiler alert. He sympathizes with it being trapped in a cage, which, fair. Then the glass vanishes, the snake escapes, and Dudley falls into the exhibit. Harry gets blamed and locked in his cupboard for the longest time ever. Weird things keep happening around Harry. His hair grows back overnight after a bad haircut. He somehow ends up on the school roof while running from bullies, and an ugly sweater shrinks before he has to wear it. The Dursleys are convinced Harry is cursed or demonic. Chapter 3. The Letters from No One, or Vernon versus the Mail. It's nearly summer, and Harry is thrilled that he won't have to deal with Dudley and his gang. Then a letter arrives from Hogwarts, addressed to Mr. H. Potter, the cupboard under the stairs. Uncle Vernon freaks out and burns it, but the letters keep coming. The next day, 12 letters arrive. Vernon boards up the mail slot like a madman. Then letters start coming through impossible places, rolled up in eggs down the chimney, you name it. It's like Hogwarts hired the world's most persistent mail carrier. Vernon loses what's left of his mind and decides they need to run away. He drives the family to a creepy hotel, but letters follow them there too. Finally, in a moment of pure insanity, Vernon drives everyone to a shack on a rock in the middle of the ocean during a storm on the eve of Harry's birthday. At midnight, as Harry counts down to his 11th birthday alone, someone starts pounding on the door like they're trying to break into a bank vault. Chapter 4. The Keeper of the Keys, or Hagrid, makes an entrance. The door literally explodes off its hinges, and in walks Hagrid, a man so massive he makes bears look like chihuahuas. He's carrying a pink umbrella, which is hilarious and terrifying. Hagrid is shocked that Harry doesn't know he's a wizard, and immediately starts roasting the Dursleys for keeping this information from him. Vernon tries to be tough and says he won't let Harry go to some crackpot school for learning magic. Hagrid gets mad and points his umbrella at Dudley, giving him a pig's tail. This is the best moment of Harry's life so far. Hagrid explains that Harry's parents didn't die in a car crash. They were murdered by the most evil wizard ever, Voldemort. But when Voldemort tried to kill baby Harry, the curse backfired, and Voldemort got destroyed. Harry survived with only a lightning bolt scar, making him the boy who lived and mega famous in the wizarding world. Harry has approximately 1 million questions, but Hagrid keeps falling asleep and feeding him rock cakes that could actually be rocks. The next morning, they head to London to get Harry's school supplies, and Harry can't believe this is real life. Chapter 5. Diagon Alley, or Harry discovers he's not broke. Hagrid takes Harry to a shabby pub in London called the Leaky Cauldron that only magical people can see. Everyone inside loses their minds when they see Harry people keep shaking his hand and crying about how honored they are to meet him. Professor Quirrell, who teaches at Hogwarts and stutters like a broken record, is there looking nervous as always. They go through the pub's back wall, it's magic, don't question it, into Diagon Alley, which is basically Wizard Times Square. Shops sell everything: cauldrons, owls, broomsticks, weird ingredients, and books that bite your fingers. First stop, Gringotts Bank, run by goblins who look like they'd repo your house for fun. Harry discovers his parents left him a fortune in wizard money. He's rich. His vault is full of gold coins. Meanwhile, Hagrid also picks up a mysterious package from a high-security vault that looks like it contains something super important and definitely not dangerous at all. They shop for everything on Harry's school list. A wand, from a creepy old man named Ollivander who remembers every wand he's ever sold. Robes, books, potion ingredients, and a cauldron. Harry wants a fancy racing broom but can't have one because first years aren't allowed. Lame. Instead, Hagrid buys him a beautiful snowy owl that Harry names Hedwig. The last stop is the wand shop, which is dusty and feels haunted. Ollivander keeps handing Harry wands to try, and weird stuff happens with each one. Lamps explode, vases shatter. Finally, one wand feels perfect: holly and phoenix feather. But here's the creepy part. The phoenix that gave the feather for Harry's wand also gave a feather for Voldemort's wand. They're basically wand siblings. Ollivander acts like this is fascinating and terrifying, which really doesn't help Harry feel better about anything. Chapter 6. The Journey from Platform 9 3/4, or Harry discovers that train platforms don't make sense. Harry spends a month living with the Dursleys, who are now terrified of him. He keeps his wand nearby just to watch them flinch, even though he doesn't know any spells yet. Dudley won't even stay in the same room with him. When it's time to leave for school, Uncle Vernon actually drives Harry to King's Cross Station, probably just to make sure he leaves. The ticket says Platform 9 3/4, which doesn't exist. Vernon laughs and abandons Harry at the station like the quality human he is. Harry is panicking when he overhears a family talking about muggles, non-magical people, and spots several kids with owls. A kind woman with red hair helps him get through the magical barrier to the platform. You just walk straight at a solid wall. No big deal. Totally not terrifying. On the platform, Harry meets the Weasleys, a massive family with red hair and not much money but lots of love. There are like 47 children, actually 7 but still, and they all seem cool. Harry gets on the Hogwarts Express and shares a compartment with Ron Weasley, the youngest Weasley boy. Ron's hilarious and immediately becomes Harry's first real friend. They bond over candy. Wizard candy is wild. Chocolate frogs come with trading cards and actually hop around. Bertie Bott's every flavor beans mean every flavor, including earwax, vomit, and grass. Then Hermione Granger barges in looking for a toad for another student. She's already memorized all the textbooks and fixed Harry's glasses with magic just to show off Ron is not impressed, and she leaves in a huff. Later, a pale, pointed-faced kid named Draco Malfoy swaggers in with 2 cronies who look like bodyguards. Draco immediately tries to befriend Harry but insults Ron's family in the process. Harry tells him to get lost, making Malfoy an instant enemy. This will definitely not cause problems later. I'm kidding. It will cause many problems. The train arrives at Hogwarts, and students take boats across a lake to see the castle for the first time. It's magnificent. Like someone built a fantasy palace on a mountain, and added too many towers because they could. Chapter 7. The Sorting Hat, or a crusty hat, decides everyone's future. The first years are led into the castle by Professor McGonagall, who is stern and no-nonsense, like a cat in human form, because she literally is one. She explains the four houses: Gryffindor, brave and reckless; Hufflepuff, loyal and existing; Ravenclaw, smart and nerdy; and Slytherin, ambitious and probably plotting something. Then they're brought into the Great Hall, which has a ceiling that looks like the night sky and floating candles everywhere. It's extra and beautiful. All the older students are watching, which is nerve-wracking. McGonagall brings out a raggedy wizard hat that looks like it should be in a museum or trash. Then the hat starts singing. It sings about the four houses and how it will sort everyone by looking into their minds, which is absolutely not creepy at all. Kids get called up alphabetically to try on the mind-reading hat. Hermione practically runs to the stool and gets sorted into Gryffindor. She's thrilled. Draco Malfoy gets Slytherin before the hat even touches his head, shocking no one. Ron gets Gryffindor. His whole family has been in Gryffindor. So pressure much? Finally, it's Harry's turn. Everyone whispers and stares because he's famous. The hat immediately starts talking to him, debating between Slytherin, where he could be great, and Gryffindor. Harry keeps thinking, not Slytherin, because Draco is there, and also Voldemort was in Slytherin. The hat respects his choice and shouts, Gryffindor. The Gryffindor table explodes with cheers. Percy Weasley, Ron's uptight prefect brother, won't stop talking about how Gryffindor is the best house. Then Dumbledore stands up to give announcements, says a few random words: nitwit, blubber, oddment, tweak, and the feast appears magically on the tables. Harry learns that Nearly Headless Nick is Gryffindor's ghost. He's called Nearly Headless because his head is only mostly cut off and still dangles from his neck. Harry also spots Snape, the potions professor, staring at him with pure hatred for no apparent reason. Their eyes meet, and Harry's scar hurts for the first time since he was a baby. Definitely not a red flag. The feast ends, and everyone heads to their common rooms. The Gryffindor common room is cozy with red furniture and a fireplace, accessed through a portrait of a fat lady who requires a password. Harry shares a dormitory with Ron, Neville, a forgetful kid who's a disaster, Seamus, who will probably blow something up, and Dean. He falls asleep in an actual bed for the first time in forever, thinking that maybe, just maybe, he belongs somewhere. Chapter 8. The Potions Master, or Snape commits to hating a child. School starts, and Hogwarts is confusing. The staircases move. Doors won't open unless you ask politely or tickle them. Ghosts pop through walls. Peeves the Poltergeist is basically a chaos demon who drops things on people's heads for fun. Mrs. Norris, the caretaker's cat, will snitch on you to Filch, who wants to bring back medieval punishment. Classes begin Transfiguration with McGonagall. She turns into a cat to start the class, which is cool, then gets stern when Ron and Harry show up late. They spend the lesson trying to turn a match into a needle. Only Hermione succeeds because of course she does. Charms with Professor Flitwick. He's tiny, part goblin maybe, and has to stand on books to see his desk. They're learning levitation charms, which involves a lot of wand waving and Latin. History of Magic with Professor Binns. This professor is a ghost who literally died and kept teaching. His class is so boring that people use it to catch up on sleep. He just drones on about goblin rebellions that no one cares about. Then there's Potions with Professor Snape in the dungeons, which is basically Harry's nightmare. Snape swoops in like a vampire and immediately targets Harry. He asks Harry impossible questions on the first day just to humiliate him when he doesn't know the answers. Hermione's hand is practically breaking from how high she's raising it, but Snape ignores her. Snape clearly has a vendetta. He takes points from Gryffindor when Harry breathes wrong and lets Slytherins get away with everything. He insults Harry's fame and implies he's an arrogant celebrity, which is rich coming from a man who treats teaching like performance art villainy. During the lesson, Neville somehow melts his cauldron and gets boils all over himself because he added porcupine quills wrong. Snape blames Harry for not helping him, even though they're not even sitting together Chapter 9. The Midnight Duel, or Malfoy is a snitching coward. On Friday, Harry gets a letter delivered by Owl during breakfast. It's from Hagrid inviting him for tea. The whole Owl mail system is chaotic. Hundreds of owls swoop in every morning, dropping letters and packages everywhere. Neville's Gran sends him a remembrall, a ball that turns red when you've forgotten something. But Neville can't remember what he's forgotten. Classic Neville. Malfoy steals the remembrall and flies off on a broom during their first flying lesson with Madame Hooch. Harry, who's apparently a natural prodigy, zooms after him and catches it in a spectacular dive. McGonagall sees this, and instead of punishing him, makes him Gryffindor's new Seeker, the most important position in Quidditch. First years are never on the house teams, so this is a huge deal. Malfoy is furious and challenges Harry to a wizard duel at midnight in the trophy room. Ron is Harry's second. Hermione tries to stop them from breaking rules, but they sneak out anyway. She and Neville get locked out of the common room and have to come along. Turns out Malfoy is a coward and never shows up. He just wanted to get them caught. They run from Filch and his demon cat and accidentally end up in the forbidden third-floor corridor. There's a giant three-headed dog in there, guarding a trapdoor. They barely escape with their lives. Hermione is furious that they nearly died and points out that the dog was standing on a trapdoor. It's guarding something. Harry realizes the mysterious package Hagrid picked up from Gringotts is probably under that trapdoor. What could possibly go wrong? Chapter 10. Halloween, or How a Troll Made Three Best Friends. October arrives with cold weather and a Halloween feast to look forward to. In Charms class, they're learning the levitation charm Wingardium Leviosa. Ron keeps saying it wrong, Wingardium Leviosa, until Hermione corrects him in the most annoying way possible. Ron gets defensive and says, "No wonder she hasn't got any friends," loud enough for her to hear. Hermione runs to the girls' bathroom crying. At the Halloween feast, the Great Hall is decorated with live bats and giant pumpkins. Everyone is having a great time until Professor Quirrell bursts in yelling, "Troll! In the dungeon!" and then faints dramatically. Everyone panics. Dumbledore orders the prefects to take students back to their dormitories. But Harry realizes Hermione doesn't know about the troll. She's still in the bathroom crying. He and Ron ditch their house group to go warn her. They find the troll, 12 feet tall, smelling like death, carrying a club, and lock it in the bathroom with Hermione by accident. Smooth. Inside, the troll is smashing everything. Hermione is screaming. Harry does something incredibly stupid. He jumps on the troll's back and his wand goes up the troll's nose. Disgusting. Ron, remembering the levitation charm for once in his life, levitates the troll's club and drops it on the troll's head, knocking it out. McGonagall, Snape, and Quirrell show up. McGonagall is about to expel them when Hermione lies and says she went looking for the troll herself because she'd read about them and thought she could handle it. But Harry and Ron saved her. This is a huge moment because Hermione Granger just lied to a teacher to protect them. McGonagall takes points from Hermione, but awards Harry and Ron points for sheer dumb luck. From that moment on, the three are actual friends. Nothing bonds people like shared near-death experiences. Chapter 11. Quidditch, or the sport designed to kill children. Harry starts Quidditch practice with Oliver Wood, the team captain who is obsessed with winning. Quidditch is absolute madness. 7 players per team, 3 chasers trying to score with a ball called the quaffle, 2 beaters hitting bludgers, balls that actively try to injure players, at opponents, 1 keeper guarding the goalposts, and 1 seeker trying to catch a tiny golden ball with wings called the snitch that's worth 150 points and ends the game. Harry is the seeker, which means he just has to fly around looking for the snitch while everyone else plays chaotic magical dodgeball. Wood tells Harry that seekers are usually the most injured players, which is very reassuring. Snape keeps being suspicious. Harry sees him limping and talking to Filch about the 3-headed dog, which Harry learns is named Fluffy. Hagrid named it, obviously. Harry, Ron, and Hermione become convinced that Snape is trying to steal whatever Fluffy is guarding. For Harry's first Quidditch match against Slytherin, the whole school turns out to watch. Hermione makes a banner, Hagrid brings binoculars, and Ron is more nervous than Harry. The match begins, and Harry immediately spots the snitch, but then his broomstick starts jerking violently, trying to throw him off. Hermione spots Snape muttering and staring at Harry. He must be cursing the broom. She runs down, sets Snape's robes on fire, casually committing arson, and breaks his concentration. Harry's broom stabilizes, he catches the snitch in his mouth, nearly swallows it, and Gryffindor wins. Everyone celebrates except Snape, who looks like he wants to murder everyone. Later, Hagrid accidentally reveals that the dog belongs to him, and that whatever it's guarding is between Dumbledore and someone named Nicholas Flamel. The trio decides they need to figure out who Nicholas Flamel is, which kicks off months of library research that makes Hermione way too happy. Chapter 12. The Mirror of Erised, or Harry gets emotionally destroyed by furniture. Christmas is coming, and Hogwarts looks magical, covered in snow and decorated with trees. Most students go home for the holidays, but Harry stays at Hogwarts. The Dursleys only sent him a 50-pence piece as a gift, which is insulting even by their standards. Ron stays too because his parents are visiting his brother Charlie in Romania. On Christmas morning, Harry wakes up to actual presents for the first time in his life. A wooden flute from Hagrid, a sweater and fudge from Mrs. Weasley, who he's only met once but who's apparently adopted him, and an anonymous package containing his father's invisibility cloak with a note saying, "Your father left this in my possession before he died. Use it well." Harry and Ron spend the day having the best time, eating candy, playing wizard chess, where the pieces violently destroy each other, and watching Percy chase Fred and George around because they bewitched his prefect badge. That night, Harry uses the invisibility cloak to sneak into the restricted section of the library to research Flamel. He almost gets caught by Filch and Snape, who are patrolling together because apparently Snape never sleeps, and he hides in a random classroom. Inside is a magnificent mirror with an inscription, "Erised stra eru oid ube kafru oid on wosi." Harry looks in it and sees himself surrounded by people who look like him, his family. His parents are there, smiling and waving. He's so overwhelmed he can barely breathe. He sits there for hours just looking at them. He brings Ron back the next night. Ron sees himself as head boy and Quidditch captain, not Harry's family, which is confusing. They almost get caught by Mrs. Norris. Harry goes back alone a third night, but this time Dumbledore is there waiting. Dumbledore explains that the Mirror of Erised, desire spelled backward, subtle, shows your deepest desire. He tells Harry that the happiest person would see themselves exactly as they are, and that dwelling on the mirror is dangerous. People have wasted away in front of it. The mirror will be moved, and Dumbledore asks Harry not to go looking for it again. Dumbledore mentions he sees himself holding socks in the mirror, which is obviously a lie, but Harry doesn't realize it yet. As Dumbledore leaves, Harry wonders what he really sees. Chapter 13. Nicholas Flamel, or Hermione saves the day with books, obviously. The Christmas holidays end and students return to Hogwarts. Harry tells Hermione about the mirror, and she's concerned he's becoming obsessed. She's more interested in the Nicholas Flamel mystery, and has been researching for weeks. Classes resume, and everyone is miserable because exams are approaching and the teachers are piling on homework. Snape is meaner than ever, and his leg is fully healed, which means he must have gotten past Fluffy already and failed. Or he's still planning something. Finally, Hermione figures it out. She finds Nicholas Flamel mentioned in a book Harry got for Christmas. Flamel is a 665-year-old alchemist who created the Philosopher's Stone, Sorcerer's Stone in America because apparently Americans don't know what philosophers are. The stone produces the elixir of life, which makes you immortal and can turn any metal into gold. Everything clicks. The stone is what Fluffy is guarding, and that's what Snape is trying to steal. They assume Snape wants to be immortal, or get rich, or both. Harry is convinced they need to tell Dumbledore, but they don't have proof. And who would believe a bunch of first years? Meanwhile, Harry has Quidditch practice constantly, because the next match is against Hufflepuff. During one practice, he sees Snape and Quirrell talking in the forest. Harry gets closer, and hears Snape threatening Quirrell, asking if he's figured out how to get past his little protection. Quirrell stammers that he doesn't know what Snape means. This convinces the trio that Snape is trying to force Quirrell to help him steal the stone. They decide to keep watching and figure out what to do, but mostly they're stuck studying for exams because Hermione won't let them do anything else. Chapter 14. Norbert the Norwegian Ridgeback, or Hagrid, becomes a dragon dad. One day, Harry, Ron, and Hermione visit Hagrid and find him reading books about dragons. He's been wanting a dragon his whole life, and he casually mentions he won a dragon egg from a stranger in a poker game at the pub. This is definitely not suspicious at all. They watch the egg hatch in Hagrid's fireplace, and out comes a baby dragon that Hagrid names Norbert. The dragon is cute for approximately 5 seconds before it starts biting everyone and setting things on fire. Hagrid is in love and treats it like a puppy, completely ignoring the fact that dragons are illegal and grow to the size of a house. Malfoy spots the dragon through Hagrid's window. This is bad because Malfoy will definitely snitch. Ron gets bitten by Norbert and his hand swells up like a balloon filled with poison. He has to go to the hospital wing, where Madame Pomfrey is horrified and suspicious about what bit him. Harry realizes they need to get rid of Norbert before Hagrid gets arrested. Ron remembers his brother Charlie works with dragons in Romania and sends him a letter asking for help. Charlie agrees to have some friends pick up Norbert from the tallest tower at midnight on Saturday. The night of the dragon handoff, everything goes wrong. They get Norbert up to the tower using the invisibility cloak. A dragon under a cloak is not subtle. It's just a floating dragon-shaped lump. Charlie's friends take Norbert successfully, but Harry and Hermione forget the cloak on the tower. When they go back down, Filch is waiting because Malfoy tipped him off. Malfoy is also there, caught trying to snitch. They all get detention, and Gryffindor loses 150 points, 50 each for Harry, Hermione, and Neville, who tried to warn them. The entire house hates them now. Harry goes from hero to villain overnight. Chapter 15. The Forbidden Forest, or Detention with Monsters. Harry's life is miserable. Everyone in Gryffindor glares at him. Even students from other houses make comments. The only person who's still nice to him is Hagrid. Detention night arrives. Harry, Hermione, Neville, and Malfoy have to go into the Forbidden Forest at night with Hagrid to find a wounded unicorn. Because apparently, the school's idea of safe punishment is sending children into a forest full of unknown magical creatures, giant spiders, and centaurs. They find unicorn blood on the ground, silver and glittery. Hagrid explains that killing a unicorn is a monstrous crime because unicorns are innocent and pure. Drinking unicorn blood will keep you alive even if you're nearly dead, but you'll have a cursed half-life. They split into 2 groups. Harry goes with Draco Malfoy and one of Hagrid's massive dogs, Fang. They hear something moving through the forest and find a dead unicorn. Then a hooded figure appears, crawling toward the unicorn like something out of a nightmare. It starts drinking the unicorn's blood. Harry's scar explodes with pain and he collapses. The figure starts moving toward him, and Harry is sure he's about to die. Suddenly, a centaur named Firenze gallops in and chases the figure away. Firenze lets Harry ride on his back, which apparently offends other centaurs because they're not horses for humans to ride. Firenze hints heavily that the hooded figure was Voldemort, surviving as barely more than a spirit by drinking unicorn blood. He's in the forest hiding and waiting for something that will help him return to power. Harry realizes with horror that Voldemort is trying to steal the Philosopher's Stone. Detention ends, and Harry is traumatized. He can't stop thinking about Voldemort being out there, weak but alive, and how the stone is the one thing that could bring him back to full strength. Chapter 16. Through the Trapdoor, or Everything Escalates Real Fast. Exams are happening, which is stressful enough without the whole Voldemort is trying to steal immortality thing hanging over them. Harry, Ron, and Hermione are studying constantly. The weather is hot, and they have to remember ridiculous things like goblin rebellions and potion ingredients. During their final exam week, Harry's scar keeps hurting. He also keeps having nightmares about Voldemort. He becomes convinced that something bad is about to happen with the stone. One day they realize they haven't seen Hagrid in a while. They visit him and find out he accidentally told a stranger in the pub how to get past Fluffy. You just play music and the dog falls asleep. Hagrid is horrified when he realizes what he's done. The stranger was wearing a hood and kept buying Hagrid drinks. It was obviously someone trying to get information about the stone. Harry figures out that the hooded stranger was probably Snape, or someone working for Voldemort. They run to tell Professor McGonagall, but she brushes them off, saying the stone is perfectly safe and Dumbledore has protections in place. Then they learn Dumbledore left the school. He got an urgent letter from the Ministry of Magic and had to go to London immediately. This is way too convenient. Harry is convinced someone sent a fake letter to get Dumbledore away from Hogwarts so they could steal the stone tonight. Harry, Ron, and Hermione decide they have to protect the stone themselves, because apparently they're the only people in the entire castle who figured out what's happening. That night, they put on the invisibility cloak and go to the third-floor corridor. They find Fluffy already asleep with a harp playing music magically nearby someone has already gone through. They jump through the trapdoor and land on some soft plant that immediately tries to strangle them. It's Devil's Snare, a plant that kills you if you panic but releases you if you relax. Hermione remembers this from herbology and stays calm. Harry figures it out, but Ron is panicking. Hermione finally uses fire to make the plant release Ron, and they continue. The next room has hundreds of flying keys. One of them unlocks the door ahead, but which one? Harry spots an old-looking silver key with a bent wing and catches it on a broomstick while dodging all the other keys attacking him. The next challenge is a giant chess game. Ron takes charge because he's actually brilliant at wizard chess. They have to play as chess pieces, and it's violent. Pieces get destroyed in battle. Ron sacrifices himself as a piece, getting knocked unconscious so Harry can checkmate the king. Hermione wants to stay with Ron, but Harry makes her go get help while he continues alone. The next room has a knocked-out troll. Someone already took care of it. And then there's a logic puzzle with potions. Hermione would have been perfect for this, but she's gone. Harry solves it anyway and drinks the potion that lets him go forward through the flames to the final room. Chapter 17. The Man with Two Faces. Or plot twist, but also not really. Harry walks into the final chamber expecting to find Snape. Instead, it's Professor Quirrell. Harry is shocked. Quirrell has been the villain the whole time. Quirrell explains that he's been working for Voldemort all year. He let the troll in on Halloween as a distraction. He cursed Harry's broomstick during the Quidditch match, and Snape was actually trying to save Harry with a counter-curse, and Hermione set an innocent man on fire. Oops. Snape suspected Quirrell all along and has been trying to protect the stone. In the room is the Mirror of Erised. Dumbledore enchanted it so only someone who wanted to find the stone but not use it could get it. Quirrell can't figure out how it works. He makes Harry look in the mirror. Harry sees his reflection finding the stone and putting it in his pocket. Suddenly, he feels something heavy in his actual pocket. The stone. The mirror gave it to him because he wanted to find it to protect it, not to use it. Harry lies and says he sees himself winning the House Cup, but Quirrell doesn't believe him. Then, a creepy voice tells Quirrell to let it speak to Harry directly. Quirrell unwraps his turban, and on the back of his head is Voldemort's face. Yes, Voldemort has been living on the back of Quirrell's head, like the world's worst parasitic twin. This is horrifying, and also explains why Quirrell wore that turban all year. Voldemort's face, which looks like a skull with red eyes, tries to convince Harry to join him. He offers to bring Harry's parents back from the dead if Harry gives him the stone. Harry refuses because he's not an idiot, and also his parents are super dead. Quirrell tries to grab Harry to take the stone by force, but when he touches Harry's skin, his hands start burning. Harry's touch is literally destroying Quirrell because of the protection Harry's mother left when she died saving him. It's in Harry's blood and skin, ancient magic powered by love, which Voldemort can't understand or touch. Harry realizes he can weaponize this and grabs Quirrell's face. Quirrell is screaming, his skin blistering and burning. Harry's scar is in agony, like his head is splitting open. Everything goes white and painful, and Harry passes out, not knowing if he's dying or not. Chapter 18. The Aftermath, or Dumbledore explains everything while Harry eats candy. Harry wakes up in the hospital wing, which is becoming a pattern for him. It's sunny outside, and there are piles of candy and treats next to his bed. Dumbledore is sitting next to him, twinkling like the wizard Santa Claus he basically is. Harry immediately asks if the stone is safe. Dumbledore says yes, but also that he and Nicholas Flamel decided to destroy it. Flamel and his wife have enough elixir stored up to get their affairs in order, and then they'll die. Dumbledore says this is just the next great adventure, which is very easy to say when you're not the one dying. Harry asks all his questions and Dumbledore actually answers them, shocking. Why couldn't Quirrell touch Harry? Because Harry's mother died to save him, and that kind of love leaves a mark. Not the scar, but a deeper protection in Harry's very skin. Voldemort, who doesn't understand love, couldn't touch something so deeply marked by it. What about Snape? Snape was actually trying to protect Harry all year because Snape owed Harry's father James a life debt. James once saved Snape's life. So Snape protected Harry to even the score. It's complicated, and Snape is still a jerk, but he's not a villain. What happened to Voldemort? He's not dead, just super weak again. He'll be out there somewhere, looking for another way to return to power. This is not comforting. Why did Dumbledore leave the school? The letter from the Ministry was a fake, designed to get Dumbledore away. What did Dumbledore see in the Mirror of Erised? Dumbledore claims he saw himself holding socks because he never gets enough socks as gifts. This is definitely a lie, but Harry doesn't press it. Later books reveal Dumbledore saw his family alive and happy, but that's a story for another time. Dumbledore leaves, and Ron and Hermione burst in. Ron is fine from the chess game, just was knocked out. Hermione is relieved Harry's alive. They talk about everything that happened, and Harry gives them credit for getting him through all the challenges. Harry's worried about the end-of-year feast because Gryffindor is in last place for the House Cup, thanks to all the points they lost. He feels guilty for ruining it for everyone. Chapter 19. The House Cup, or Dumbledore is a Dramatic King. The end-of-year feast arrives. The Great Hall is decorated in green and silver because Slytherin won the House Cup. Malfoy and his friends look smug and insufferable. The Gryffindor table is depressed. Dumbledore stands up to announce the House Cup winner. The scores are: 4th place, Gryffindor with 312 points. 3rd place, Hufflepuff with 352 points. 2nd place, Ravenclaw with 426 points. 1st place, Slytherin with 472 points. The Slytherins are already celebrating. Then Dumbledore says he has some last-minute points to award. Everyone holds their breath. To Ron Weasley, 50 points for the best-played game of chess Hogwarts has seen in many years. Ron goes bright red but looks thrilled. To Hermione Granger, 50 points for the use of cool logic in the face of fire. Hermione buries her face in her arms, and Harry knows she's crying happy tears. To Harry Potter, 60 points for pure nerve and outstanding courage. The Gryffindor table is going wild. They're tied with Slytherin now, 472 points each. The Slytherins look devastated. Malfoy looks like he's going to cry. Then Dumbledore, who clearly loves drama, says there's one more person to recognize. To Neville Longbottom, 10 points. Because it takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to our enemies, but just as much to stand up to our friends. Neville tried to stop Harry, Ron, and Hermione from sneaking out that night, and that took guts. Gryffindor wins with 482 points. The Great Hall explodes in noise. Even the Ravenclaws and Hufflepuffs are cheering because everyone hates Slytherin. Dumbledore waves his wand, and the green and silver decorations change to red and gold. The Gryffindor table is chaos. Everyone is hugging and screaming. Even Percy is losing his dignity and cheering. Harry looks over at the Slytherin table. Malfoy looks like his soul has left his body. Snape is forcing a smile, but he looks like he's in physical pain. It's the best moment of Harry's entire year. Chapter 20. Going Home, or Harry Returns to Sadness. The rest of the school year passes in a blur of celebrating and sunshine. Exam results come back, and Harry passes everything, even potions barely. Hermione obviously gets the best grades in the year because she's Hermione. Ron does well too. Hagrid gives Harry a photo album filled with pictures of his parents. The photos move because they're wizard photos. His parents wave and smile at him. Harry has never owned a single picture of his parents before this, and he's so touched he almost cries. They pack their trunks, say goodbye to the castle, and board the Hogwarts Express back to London. On the train they eat candy, play games, and Harry buys the whole cart of treats for everyone because he's rich and generous and finally has friends to share things with. Harry changes out of his robes into Muggle clothes, which feel wrong now. Ron and Hermione promise to write to him over the summer and maybe visit. Harry tells them good luck getting letters from him when he doesn't know if the Dursleys will let him send or receive mail. At King's Cross Station, they say goodbye. Ron's whole family is there, and Mrs. Weasley says Harry should come visit. Hermione's parents, normal Muggles, are waiting for her, looking proud. Uncle Vernon shows up to collect Harry, looking annoyed as usual. As they drive away from the station, Harry looks back at the barrier to platform 9 3/4 and smiles. He has a whole summer to get through at the Dursleys, but he knows something they don't. He's going back to Hogwarts in September. He has friends, he has magic, and he finally has a place where he belongs. The Dursleys can't take that away from him. Summer might be terrible, but autumn is coming, and with it, another year at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, where invisible staircases move, paintings talk back, and an 11-year-old boy discovered that sometimes the orphan living in a cupboard gets to be a hero. The end. What we learned. Always trust giant men with pink umbrellas. Fluffy is a terrible name for a monster dog. Hermione Granger is always right. Annoying, but true. Dumbledore is dramatic and probably planned everything. Love is the most powerful magic, but also just grabbing evil people works too. Never trust a man who wears a turban year-round. Quidditch is a lawsuit waiting to happen. The Dursleys are still the worst. And most importantly, when mysterious schools send you letters via owl, read them. Coming next, Harry returns to Hogwarts where a house elf tries to save his life by ruining it. Students start getting petrified by a giant snake, and Harry discovers he can talk to snakes, which is apparently not a normal wizard skill and makes everyone think he's evil. Fun times ahead.